Brad Williams, Frugal Finance, calls on puts on SOFR. Earlier in this section, we discussed the active market and forward interest rates based on SOFR. However, market makers are active in forward rates with 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year maturities, and we will provide quotations on other maturities as well. A parallel option market exists in which calls on SOFR and puts on SOFR trade. For example, there's a market for calls on 3 month SOFR and for puts on 1 month. These options are generally European in form. Payoff for options on SOFR. The payoff on calls and puts on SOFR depend on the maturity of SOFR being quoted in the notional principal. Consider first a call on 3 month SOFRs with a notional principal of $1 million and an exercise price or strike price of 9%. The calls pay off if the observed 3 month SOFR rate on the expiration date of the option exceeds the strike rate. We're talking yields here, all right, not price. In that case, the payoff on the call equals the difference between the observed rate and the strike rate multiplied by the quarter of a year maturity of the term of the rate times the notional principal. For our example, call option, if the observed rate is 10.5%, the payoff will be 10.5 minus 9 times 0.25 times $1 million equals 37.50. Let frac be the fraction of the year covered by the maturity of the underlying SOFR instrument. Let NOP be the notional principal and let SOFR be the strike rate. The general expression for the payoff on a call on SOFR will be equation 1910 max observed SOFR minus strike times frac times NOP. I think we just did this. When observed, SOFR is the rate observed at the expiration of the option for SOFR at the appropriate maturity. A put on SOFR pays off when the observed rate at expiration is less than the strike rate. Payoff for a put on SOFR is max 0 strike rate minus observed SOFR times frac times NOP. For example, consider a put on 1 month SOFRs with a strike rate of 8.5% and a notional principal of $25 million. At expiration of the option, assume that the 1 month SOFR rate stands at 703. You can see that spread differential there. So it's 8.5 minus 703 times 0.25 times $1 million. The payoff with this would be 0.85.073 times 1 divided by 12. I said quarter, it's annual. Times 25 million. I don't know where these numbers came from. The 25 million, the other example was $1 million. Oh, 1 month as opposed to, would we have 3 months up here? So I read too fast. You kind of get the idea. Slow down, pull on the reins a little bit. I'm just trying to work through this to allow you to work on your own. Determination in advance, settlement in arrears. In our discussion of forward rates, we noted that they are generally determined in advance and settled in arrears. What does that mean? Thus, the payment on a 6 month forward generally occurs 6 months after the settled in arrears. Thus, the payment on a 6 month forward generally occurs 6 months after the determination date. Calls and puts on SOFR are generally structured in a parallel manner. The payoffs are determined at the expiration date, but the payment is made at a date that lags the determination date by the maturity of the SOFR quotation. When the lag between determination and payment equals the maturity of the SOFR quotation, the lag is said to be the natural time lag. Thus, the actual payoffs in our sample, call and put, would be 3 months and 1 month after the determination dates, respectively. In pricing calls and puts on SOFR, we need to take the settlement in arrears into account. And I bet you we do that next. Brad Williams, Frugal Finance. Thanks for watching.